everyone, welcome back to the channel for my Season 11 halftime special. Halfway through each season, I make a halftime special to share my thoughts on the season so far and check the status of the popular theories. Since Season 11 is divided into 2 chapters, this is also going to be a review of the Fire chapter in a way too, although I intend to make a separate review on the Fire chapter as well soon. I'm first going to start off talking about what I liked about the season, then what I disliked, and whether the popular theories have been proven or disproven. The fight scenes in this season have actually been pretty good. I will say that I do not think they're better than the ones from the Oni trilogy, simply because the Season 11 ones are just a bit too fast and chaotic, and there's also the whole floppy weapon thing, but they're pretty close to being better than the Oni trilogy fights. They're very fast-paced in this season, and what I love is that there's generally a lot of different parts happening. Some of my favorite fights from the season include the museum fight from episode 9, and Nia versus the snakes in episode 10. Forbidden Spinjitzu also definitely makes the fights really awesome too. I love how Spinjitzu is making a comeback in this season for the fights as well, and has been used in fights more often. All in all, the fights are pretty cool this season. Forbidden Spinjitzu is also really cool, in terms of both animation and the concept. The thing that is missing is backstory and why it was developed in the first place, but nevertheless, it's still pretty awesome for what it is. I love the concept for it, and how it's essentially a better version and darker version of Spinjitzu, but it comes with a price. It's dangerous and affects you, making you corrupted in a way. I think that's a great idea for a martial art, and better than just learning something that makes the ninja more powerful like air jitsu. While flaming ninja hoods look terrible in set form, it looks really good in the TV show. I love the glowing eyes too. It's been awesome to learn about another side of Spinjitzu, and I can't wait to learn more. With having talked about the stuff that is good this season, I'm now going to be talking about the stuff that isn't really working and the stuff that I don't like. I won't go too much into detail about this, but I just don't feel that the 11-minute format is a good idea. I've made an entire video about why the 11-minute episode just isn't working a couple weeks ago. I feel that this format is ruining the season and making it into an unorganized mess in a way. There's too much filler, which leads to the main story then being rushed. The character arcs feel rushed and useless and lack the meaning that they used to. They interrupt the main plot, and the chapter just doesn't feel like a consistent story. I think that the format can be used the right way, but I don't think it was used the right way during the Fire chapter. I'm just not fond of this sudden creativity push, and I don't feel that this format fits Ninjago. The humor is another major problem in the season because it's thrown into the main spotlight. Humor should be a side aspect, not the main purpose, and yet a lot of the episodes and scenes in the season are dedicated entirely to humor. This wouldn't be entirely bad, but the humor in the season just isn't good, and the jokes often end up failing. The humor doesn't feel appropriate to the story, and oftentimes, serious or good scenes with the potential are totally ruined just to crack a joke, like Asphira's monologue in episode 8, or literally the entirety of episode 2. Because of this new episode format and the terrible humor, Questing for Quests is my least favorite episode of the series. Clutch Powers is another example of something people were looking forward to, but was just ruined for comic relief. I hate this guy, and he became my least favorite character of the series. There is too much humor, and the problem is that usually it's pretty bad. This isn't as big of a problem as the other two, and I wasn't expecting Asphira to be the next Harumi or Moro, but she and the Pyro Vipers were just really disappointing. She is a serpentine witch who screams about revenge and the treacherous deceiver, and this is just really boring. She's annoying as a character, and her voice and scream certainly don't help. A villain who is just angry and wants revenge isn't good storytelling. Her motives are bland, repetitive, and uninteresting. It was fine for the first few episodes, and I quite liked her in episodes 5 and 8, but by episode 9 I was expecting her character to start coming together. But I was wrong, and instead we got one of the show's worst villains. As for the Pyro Vipers, they feel quite boring too. They may look awesome, but there isn't really anything unique or interesting about them. They're ultimately yet another Serpentine army, and are pretty forgettable villains. So those are my thoughts on the Fire chapter so far. Now we're going to take a look at some of the popular theories, and check to see if they've been proven or disproven. The biggest theory leading up to the season was that there would be a huge battle between the sides of Fire and Ice, and that the ninja are thrown into this battle. Much to our surprise though, sadly this theory was very quickly disproven. Season 11 is instead split up into 2 parts for Fire and Ice, and the Ice Samurai and Pyro Viper seem not to be connected. There doesn't seem to be any battle between these 2 armies, considering they originate from 2 different realms as well. I personally am kinda disappointed that this didn't happen, because it would have been a really unique idea for Ninjago and something that we've never seen. We don't really see 2 villains fighting each other, and we ended up getting a ninja versus villain season again. Talking about a theory that popped up when the first trailer was released, we were given a shot of Wu using Forbidden Spinjitzu. A lot of people started speculating that he would be corrupted or turned evil, and this was disproven. The actual context of the scene in episode 15 shows that Wu is indeed mad at the ninja, and part of the furious expression is also due to Forbidden Spinjitzu, of course. But he has not been turned evil by an outside force like he was in Rebooted. Wu was not turned evil in Season 11, and the context behind the scene does explain why we may have thought he may have turned evil. When the concept of Forbidden Spinjitzu first came about, it was speculated to be a dangerous power with bad effects. People theorized that it would corrupt or turn the user evil, and this has been proven in a way. Forbidden Spinjitzu makes the user angry and irrational, as we see Lloyd lash out at Nia in episode 14. We also see Wu using the power too, and he's pretty furious at episode 15. Zane also becomes a bit angry when he uses the scroll, and is hesitant to return it to Wu, and even has a mad expression while he's defeating the snakes. Forbidden Spinjitzu is indeed a dangerous power with bad effects, and much of what we had predicted beforehand ended up being true in the final version. The idea of Zane being the Ice Emperor popped up a few times prior to the season, although it wasn't necessarily a main theory. At the time this video was recorded, episode 16 has not yet been released, so I don't know the answer to this question yet, but we do have a lot more evidence to prove the theory. For example, Zane definitely was experiencing the effects of the scroll in episode 14. We also know that Zane is in the Neverrealm and has the scroll with him, and this adds up with the Master of Ice having the scroll that corrupts. Again, we don't know the definite answer to this yet as of the time this was recorded, but I'm definitely thinking that he is the Ice Emperor. And lastly, I want to talk about the roles of side characters, particularly Clutch Powers, Antonia, and Lil Nelson. To call these guys side characters is a bit generous because none of them really do much. I think the community, and definitely myself, were expecting bigger roles from these characters, especially Antonia. We first heard of Antonia last year and got her design and a piece of the episode 6 script. As usual, a small thing like this was hyped up more than it should have been, and Antonia doesn't do too much. But the main point of her character is that LEGO made it based on a fan, which is really sweet, so I don't mind a minor role. And then Nelson, who first appeared in the trailer. I think people were expecting these guys to be more important to the plot and appearing in multiple episodes. Then we have Clutch Powers, who appears in a few episodes but isn't really that important. Sure, he guided the ninja, but it's not like he was necessary for the plot. Seeing as he's from another LEGO media, people definitely were expecting him to be doing more in the season. To sum it up, all these characters were expected to do more than they actually did. So that's our look at the Fire chapter and the first half of Season 11. I'm going to end this off with my own thoughts on the chapter. I honestly think this is one of the series' weakest and worst installments yet, sadly, for the various reasons I've explained. I don't like the humor or the 11-minute episode, and the constant breaks from the main plot are hurting the story. If this was the entire season, it would be my least favorite, and I'd give the Fire chapter a 5 out of 10. I'm still really excited for the Ice chapter though, and it's shaping up to be a lot better than the first half. It seems more established in terms of plot, and Ice Emperor Zane will be awesome. My only concern would be more fillers such as the anime episode Worst of All. But as long as they don't mess up characters like Akita and the Ice Emperor, I think this chapter will be a lot better. Thanks for watching my halftime special. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share with anyone and everyone you know. Let me know your thoughts on the Fire chapter and the stuff I discussed in the video, and I will see you next time.